Everyone, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where today it is finally time. We are entering our first 24-player raid, our first Alliance raid. Hello, Graha Tia, my beloved dumbass nerd who can't help but want to impress the very heroes who will go down in his beloved history books. You absolute dumbass who thinks that pranking me will get you in my good graces. It does. I love you. Hi. Graha, God. Oh, I can't be normal around him. Listen, you know how I fucking love Kalaya from the Arcanist quest and how she's never coming back? Like, she leaves in Arcanist 30 and she never comes back again. She has not appeared since. I'm so mad. Graha's another one of those side characters who's just locked to the side content. I'm so sad. I love him. Alright, Graha. I love you. Let's get started on this. Grahati is eager to begin the expedition to the Crystal Tower. Esteemed colleagues, the secrets of ancient Allagan beckon. Let us not keep them waiting any longer. Adventure, you and I will join the engineers of the Crystal Tower's main gateway, where we will endeavor to neutralize the structure's outer defenses. Rambros, meanwhile, will remain here and oversee the operation. Given my knowledge of Allagan history, it seems logical that I should lead the expedition itself, though I admit the role does not exactly befit my status as an observer. Still, we can but make use of the resources at hand. Assuming all are in agreement. Sorry, friend. I know you are also doing quests that are important, but I need to see my boy. Let us proceed forthwith to the large lopsided gate found to the southeast. Alright, my boy. Let's do it. I have studied the legacy of the Allagan Empire for long years. Now that this expedition is at last underway, the very core of my historical infatuation lies within my grasp. It falls to us, to the Fellowship of Noah, to crack open the tomb of a fallen civilization and bring the wealth of its history out of the shadows and into the light. He's so excited. I love him. I love him. Oh my god, why does this game have such good side characters who are just part of the side content? Your decision to join our expedition to the Crystal Tower was the most welcome development. Okay, yep, no, nothing new from you, so I'm assuming we're just heading onwards. I'm assuming nothing new from you three either. Okay, onwards to the base of the Crystal Tower. So, we're gonna want to head to the southeast, he said? I can't be normal about him. I love him. He's so good. He's the best nerd, dork, hot cat boy. Alright, I found the very, very, very lopsided gate indeed. Look at that thing. The Crystal Tower lies beyond this portal. Now comes the interesting part. Sid, you are the only one of our number who has ever crossed this threshold. I ask that you take the lead for the present. I say, the energy radiating from these statues is palpable. Lucky for us, that is. One might otherwise stroll past them. Feast your eyes on the elemental defenses which prompted our lengthy preparations. These sentinels prevent would-be intruders from advancing to within 20 yalms of the tower's inner reaches. He's a skilled archer too. I love him. No matter how swift they may be. Happily, the crystal fangs we took such pains to craft should spare us the inconvenience of instantaneous annihilation. Here, allow me to demonstrate. Chief, it's two! Dangerous to allow anyone else to risk his life testing one? Quite right. I made the damn things. It's my job to see that they work. Okay, but Sid, if they fail, you're the one we need to fix them. Success! Hi, for what I'm convinced. Friends, ready your fangs. This last one is yours, old friend. It seemed only right. Ha! We did it! So much for the outer defenses. Indeed, the entrance of the tower is near at hand. My blood fairly sings with anticipation. Speaking of blood, I have a proposal for the next stage of the expedition. I suggest we wait here while Satora and a hand-picked party of her adventuring companions enter the tower. What? Without us? I thought we came here to survey the entire structure. We did, and we will, but our investigations must proceed at a more measured pace. If the outside of the place is this well defended, can you imagine what awaits us on the inside? Only a true hero could reasonably hope to brave the hazards ahead and live to tell the tale. Satora here fits that description better than anyone I know. And it is not as if we shall be idle in her absence. While Satora and her companions are risking life and limb to beat us a path to the tower, we can set about analyzing this rubble for evidence of how its technologies function. Your knowledge of ancient lore will be invaluable in that endeavor, Historian Grahatia. Bah, do you ever tire of being right, old man? Satora, as it seems I won't be accompanying you, allow me to at least provide some instruction. The maze that surrounds the base of the tower is known as the Labyrinth of the Ancients. During this initial foray, I suggest you concentrate on ridding the place of hostile elements. When you are reasonably certain that the maze is secure, contact me via Linkshell and we shall join you post-haste, no matter what Master Garland says. Though we would prefer it if any relics you encounter remained intact, you have leave to do whatever is necessary to secure ingress to the upper levels of the tower. Fortune go with you, Satora. He's so salty, he doesn't get to go with us. I love him. Ah! He's such a nerd, he just wants to research in peace. I'm sorry, I'm trying so hard and I'm just failing at every turn. He's so good. Duties for Alliances. This duty is designed to be undertaken by an alliance, a squad of 24 adventurers formed of 3 full parties. This battle composition is reserved for large-scale duties only. While you are in an alliance, the class and job icons and HP bars of alliance members will appear to the right of the party list. By joining forces with other parties, you can achieve that which would otherwise be impossible. The full parties in alliance raids is slightly different makeup. Normally, in a full party, you have 2 tanks, 2 healers, and 4 DPS. With alliances, each of the full parties is 1 tank, 2 healers, and 5 DPS. Alliance raids tend to be very limited by the number of DPS who are joining as a result. You need more DPS for an alliance raid than for a regular raid or 8-player duty. They mostly do it like this because you have 3 tanks rather than you don't need a full 2 per party. That would give you 6 tanks. That's a lot of tanks. That would be a lot of tanks fighting over aggro. You only need the 3 across all 3 parties. Okay, let's go talk to everyone. Assuming they are still here doing their research. Where are they? Raha? Sid? Biggs? Wedge? Where did they all go? They're supposed to be here, examining the rubble. Did they move further up the hill? They may have moved up the stairs. Let's go check. See if they're up this way. I don't see them. Well, that's unfortunate. I wanted to talk to them before we go in. The Crystal Tower is just ahead. I'll be back shortly with my full party of 24 as we head into our first Alliance raid. I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I've done it. With the help of my friends, my incredible friends, I got 24 people together to run minimum item level, no echo, Labyrinth of the Ancients. This is our second attempt at this. Yes, this is actually surprisingly rough, but I believe we can pull it off. Alright, let's get started. I'm going to be doing post-commentary for Labyrinth of the Ancients because as an Alliance raid, this is a fairly long one, and I want to be sure to be able to have the time to focus on the gameplay and also be able to focus on the actual commentary describing what's happening. So, we did go in initially without mind settings on this second attempt. We tried our first attempt at Labyrinth a week ago, and we failed. We got to the second to last boss, got halfway through it, and ran out of time. It's hard on mind settings. But yeah, today, accidentally went in without mind settings, hopped back out after 10 minutes when we realized, and hopped right back in with proper mind settings. Anyways, Labyrinth of the Ancients is our first Alliance raid. Alliance raids, the way they work is they're going to have 4 bosses with regular, like, trash fights in between. I call them trash fights because that's what the community typically calls them, because normally they're not difficult. On mind settings, they're difficult. So, for Labyrinth of the Ancients, there are 3 main hallways, west, north, and east. We're going west first. I believe you're required to go in a particular order. Yes, you are. Anyways, west first. This first fight, we have 2 Valivores, which are the large void-sent beasts. They have nasty abilities, cleave abilities. In front of them, in a cone in front of them, they'll do massive damage to people. That is not marked. It will not let you know that the cleave is coming. I don't like that. I really prefer when the game actually tells you that an attack is coming when it's an AoE, but whatever. They also have a back cleave. Their tail will hit you if you're behind them. So the Valivores can hit pretty nasty, forward and back, and without warning sometimes. There's additionally a bunch of sprites in this fight that are just in the middle, and they're there to cause problems, be additional things to deal with. Our strategy that we're using is, as you go into an Alliance raid, your party is divided up into 3 alliances: Alliance A, Alliance B, and Alliance C. Alliance raids will often have those 3 alliances handling different mechanics separately. Often it'll be the same mechanic, just different copies of it. Sometimes it'll be slightly different between parties. We're in Party A. The way our group is doing it is Group A and Group C are handling the Valifors, positioning them very specifically on these corner platforms so that we can stand to the side of the Valifors to safely attack them without getting hit. Meanwhile, Alliance B was focusing on the sprites and taking them down. Once one alliance clears out their objective, they can often go and support with the other objectives as well. Okay, moving on to the second fight. We have 2 greater demons and a whole bunch of little imps. Similar strategy to before. Alliance A and Alliance C are taking the 2 greater demons and a couple of the little void sent imps, while Alliance B is taking as many of the imps as they can. We're going to draw them out here to each of the wings, and then we're going to just fight them down. Forgot to put regen up on Miri. Oh no. Poor Katsis, no! So yeah, thankfully with the practice we got from the first attempt a week prior, we do have a lot of these strategies down now. We know what we're doing, so we're largely going to be able to get through here just fine. Things to watch out for in Alliance raids. You are primarily going to be focused on your own party, not the other parties. The other parties are doing their own thing, you focus on your party. If you are playing as a healer and you notice that all of the healers in another alliance are down, or if just another alliance is having a real bad time, it can be good, if you are not neglecting your own alliance, to support them. Use a res on other alliance healers if both of their healers are down. Use heals on them to keep their alliances alive. Just don't neglect your own party. Your own party is first priority. Okay, second fight clear. We are moving on to 3 dirges and 3 cursed eyes. Each alliance is going to take 1 dirge and 1 cursed eye. We're going to take them to the various platforms around here. Something I have not mentioned yet that I have forgotten to mention. Each of these first 3 fights will have poison on the floor, and this poison will rise, and I think maybe sometimes lower. I don't think it actually lowers. But the poison will rise during the fight, so you want to be on the elevated platforms to protect yourself. In this third fight, the poison will rise twice, so we will be gradually losing space until we're on only those really, really small platforms that are in the corners, which is where the markers A and B and off to the right should be C are located. Okay, we are waiting for people to get caught back up after they died and revived. They are walking. Normally in Alliance raid, it is recommended there is a teleporter at the start of the Alliance raid. Accessing that will bring you to the most recent checkpoint that the party has reached. You'll just periodically unlock these teleporters as you progress through Alliance raids, acting as checkpoints in case you die and need to get caught back up. And as I believe we mentioned in the chat a little bit ago, someone did, it is better to, if you are between fights, it is better to revive back at the start of the duty and just catch back up with the teleporters than it is to wait for a healer to res you, because if you get res, you get a debuff to your damage for a good while, about a minute. Okay, the reason we are doing these full 16-second countdowns before fights begin is because we have dancers in the party. Dancers, different jobs will have different like pre-pull prep phases where they'll use a bunch of abilities to get ready for the fight in order to do maximum damage from second one. Dancers have a full 15-second warm-up, and there's another job, Astrologian, which I think has a full 1 minute? No, not 1 minute. I don't play Astrologian much. I have barely played Astrologian. I remember hearing it's ridiculously long, either 30 seconds or a minute for just their prep phase. Anyways, Diras, I want to say, yeah, they've got a big frontal cleave and that big circle AoE attack, so we want to not be standing in front of them. Similarly, don't stand in front of the Cursed Eyes. They have a forward cone cleave, which is thankfully marked. The Dira's front cleave is unmarked. The Cursed Eyes front cleave is marked. I really wish they were more consistent about marking all of the cleaves, but I know that they don't mark some of them specifically to make it more challenging to punish you for not paying attention and like standing in front of an enemy when you should not be. The only people who should be standing in front of an enemy basically ever are the tank. Just don't stand in front if you're not the tank. Alright, heading onwards. We are coming up on the first proper boss of the Labyrinth of the Ancients, the Bone Dragon. In the original version of... Sorry, not original version. In the current playthroughs of Labyrinth of the Ancients, if you're not going through mine settings, this is a joke fight. This is a meme fight. People will just dance all over it. But that's also true in general for Labyrinth of the Ancients and the rest of the Crystal Tower raids. If you're going through without mine settings, everyone's going to be at really, really strong gear, and these fights are going to be trivial. In the regular strategy, which I think we're going to try first here, I believe we tried that first here, and it's not going to go well. We will need 2 attempts on Bone Dragon. I'm just going to go ahead and say that now. Just get that out of the way. But our first attempt, we are going to use the current modern-day strat, which is... first, I should explain the mechanics of Bone Dragon. So Bone Dragon, you need to kill it 3 times in order for it to stay dead. Each time it dies, it'll stay down for a little while, and in the meantime, adds called Plantinals, which are skeletons, will spawn around the arena and try to rush to the Bone Dragon. If they get to the Bone Dragon, they will explode and do massive damage to the entire 24-player alliance. It can be a little bit nasty, so you don't want them to get to the Bone Dragon. You don't want it to happen. The current modern day strategy is to pull the Bone Dragon to the very back of the arena and pull the Plantinals to the middle of the arena and just destroy them all there. Destroy all the Plantinals there, away from the Bone Dragon so they can't get to it. That is much easier with the high item levels and stats that people normally run this with, because you can kill the Plantinals pretty quickly. However, on mine difficulty, with our low item level and low stats, that's not really going to work. The original old day strat, when the raid first came out, is you hold the Bone Dragon in the middle, and you pull out... You can see around the arena, there's like 8 spokes of just rectangular platforms. There's one we're standing on now, and then there's a bunch more, and then one behind the Bone Dragon. The original strat that's going to end up actually working for us on the second attempt is going to be keep the Bone Dragon in the middle and then drag the Plantinals out along those spokes as far away as you can. The idea being, if we have our 2 extra tanks, because we have 3 tanks total, 1 for each alliance, one of our tanks will focus on the Bone Dragon, the other 2 will draw Plantinals out and spread them out, effectively splitting them in half. So half the Plantinals go one way, half go the other way, makes it far more manageable at these levels of stats. Anyways, right now we are just discussing in chat what the strategy is actually going to be. There's going to be a lot of that as we go through Alliance raids on mine settings. Stopping and discussing strategy before we rush in. That's just kind of how difficult content works in this game, and mine difficulty makes it difficult. This is very much a game where you learn by trial and error. If you are playing difficult content, you're gonna die a lot, and that does not make you a bad player. That makes you a player who is learning and playing the game correctly. Honestly, I do think playing on difficulties like this does make you a much better player, though I also strongly believe no one should be required to play difficult content. Some people just aren't into it, and that's perfectly fine. People should be allowed to not be into that. Anyways, there are some Plantinals that are spawning while the Bone Dragon is still alive, and I believe, yeah, we've got Party back there working on them. But there's going to be a big wave of Plantinals that spawn up when the Bone Dragon goes down, each time the Bone Dragon goes down. But if we can clear the Bone Dragon and kill it 3 times, then we've cleared the fight. And, yeah, here's where things go to hell. A bunch of Plantinals slip through. This is a problem. A bunch of Plantinals slip through, and we all die at once. It is, yeah. Great googly moogly, it's all gone to shit. Yeah. It happens. Thankfully, we've got Rezzers who are very on top of it, trying to get everyone back up. I do not main White Mage, so apologies if my White Maging is not optimal here, or throughout the entirety of Labyrinth of the Ancients. That's why I'm playing all the jobs, to get good practice. Oh, but now that we have all died, and I've died, I'm out of MP, so reviving people is going to be rough. Alright, while we're working on Bone Dragon, a few other things to discuss. Especially when you're going into difficult content, but just in general. Eat food. Eat game food. Game food, I've gone over this many, many times in the main Let's Play, but I'm going to go over it again because it's really important here. Your in-game food will give you stat buffs. Those stat buffs are going to make a huge difference. They are a multiplier on your synced down, like reduced stats when we have level sync on, like we do in mine. Yeah, it's a multiplier on your stats. It is very, very valuable. Better food will be able to have a higher multiplier or a higher cap on what their buff can be, but like, use your food buffs. Just use them. They are going to make a big difference. They also give you an experience bonus, so why not? Get that extra experience. The other thing is potions. I have potions set on my hotbar up on the top left by the limit break. I definitely recommend potions for high-end content. Those will give you short 30-second major buffs to your stats, or to one of your stats, which can be really, really useful in burst phases. Whenever your abilities line up in such a way that you can do a bunch of your best attacks all at once to get a ton of damage in. Putting out those potions, using them when that so-called burst phase begins, your increased damage from having your best abilities is going to become even more powerful, which is just beautiful. For me in particular, since I was playing a healer, I was using pineapple Pond's cakes for the food, I want to say it was. Either pineapple Pond's cakes or pineapple juice. The pineapple item level 70 food that you get from Culinarian boosts your, I want to say it was spell speed, piety, and vitality? That sounds correct. But spell speed makes you cast faster, very good. Makes you get more attacks out more frequently. Piety makes you regen MP more often, and you can see when you die, having high piety is good. You want to regenerate your MP as quickly as possible. High piety is really, really good if you're tending to die a lot. And then vitality boost, of course, increases your HP. At this point, I believe we are discussing switching over to the original strategy, which is keep the dragon in the middle and draw the plantinals off to the sides. And it was brought up, which, gosh, very few of us knew this because most of us started well after this was current content. This was not current content for basically all of us when we started playing, so a lot of us were not even aware of this little fact. The Platinals will speed each other up when they're near each other. Another big advantage to splitting them up into two groups. By splitting them up, they're not going to be speeding each other up as much, which means we have a lot more ability to actually deal with them. Okay, waiting for one more person to catch up. They didn't use the teleporter. That's fine. Not everyone's aware of the teleporters because people, thankfully, don't die all that often in Alliance raids. It happens, but it's not that often, so a lot of people go without realizing the teleporters are a thing. Okay, so let's see, where are we at? I believe we have just another minute or so of strategizing or waiting for people to confirm that they are ready, and then we will go. Or waiting for people to ask any questions that they have and get those questions answered. Oh, yes, that brings up a good point. Thank you to the person who said that in chat that's scrolling off screen right now. And thank you to Kimebloom for, actually, that's what I was about to say. When Labyrinth of the Ancients first came out, originally the way Alliance Raids parties were set up was 2 tanks, 2 healers, 4 DPS per alliance. But I believe starting with Circus, starting with a later Alliance raid, they switched it to be the current 1 tank, 2 healer, 5 DPS that is used in Alliance raids for the rest of the entire game. And they didn't change how Labyrinth of the Ancients is set up to accommodate for that, but they also didn't need to because it's not that hard unless you're going in on mine. But yeah, originally having 6 tanks is definitely a bit much, I would say. But it would have made this specific fight a bit easier, and another specific fight a bit easier. Actually, I can think of several fights in... Yeah, no, I can think of like at least half of the fights in Labyrinth of the Ancients would have been specifically made easier by having the original 6 tanks set up. Fair enough, it happens. Didn't get my timer fixed in time. Thank you, Mirita. Okay. So, beginning the second attempt at Bone Dragon went over the strategy. We are going to keep the Bone Dragon in the middle, draw the Platinums off to the side, and we're going to see what happens. I believe Mirita's been acting as our primary tank, focusing on the Bone Dragon, so I'm going to stick with Miri. Make sure she doesn't die, since I am playing as healer and we are in mine. A lot of my focus does need to be on keeping people healed and alive. So I'm not going to be able to get us out as much DPS as I would personally prefer, but it's fine. Alright, what else to talk about while we are focusing on Bone Dragon, trying to kill it 3 times so we can get through here? Oh yes, more party composition information. So, Alliance raids, they use, per party, 1 tank, 2 healers, 5 DPS. It's generally a good idea to have different kinds of tanks. We have a warrior, a dark knight, and a gunbreaker as our 3 tanks. But different tanks have different pros and cons. Some are better in large groups of enemies. Some are better for one-on-one combat. Some have really good damage output. Some are surprisingly more fragile. Different tanks have different pros and cons, so it's good to have a variety of them so you can adapt to different situations. Different tanks can take the lead in different types of fights, just depending on what's going on. For the healers, it is always recommended to, if possible, when you have 2 healers in content, have a barrier healer and a regeneration healer. I'm pretty sure this is something I've talked about before. Barrier healers are Scholar and Sage, and they are focused on putting up shields on your party so that they don't take damage in the first place. The shields can be very, very good, but they also, once they break through, your party's going to be taking damage, and you have as a barrier healer, you have weaker raw healing potential. You're not able to actually heal the party as much. The other type of healer is going to be regeneration healer, which is White Mage and Astrologian. These are going to be much better, like, raw healing power. Once your party takes damage, that's when regeneration healers come in to bring you back up to full, to heal off any damage you have taken. Barrier healers conflict with each other. This is important to remember. Barrier healers conflict with each other. Their barriers will override each other. Do not have multiple barrier healers in a party. It can get really, really nasty as you're fighting for who gets to put the barrier up. Don't fight over who gets to put the barrier up. Really, really well-coordinated barrier healers can pair up to swap off who puts a barrier up at what time and support each other really, really well to make it so your party basically never takes damage. But that requires really good coordination that a lot of barrier healers just don't have, and there is nothing wrong with that. It is far better, and usually how the game's balanced, to have a barrier healer and a regeneration healer. Barrier healer to prevent damage, and regeneration healer to heal up the damage you receive once your barriers are broken. It is a really strong pairing, and I believe we have that pairing in every party except B. B, we have 2 white mages, but C and A, we have a white mage and a scholar. Other ways healers are broken up is... Oh no, I'm dead. Oh no, Jera's dead. Oh no. Oh no, both the white mages and B are dead. Oh, this is ugly. But we made it! We made it! Somehow. But yes, what was I saying? Yes, the other way healers are divided up is based on whether or not they give a lot of buffs to the party or not. I believe White Mage and Sage are more focused on... Oh, I have not touched Sage, so I actually don't know how it does with party buffs with comparison to Scholar. But I want to say that White Mage and Sage don't give buffs, while Astrologian and Scholar do. Scholar eventually gets a really good ability that increases party damage by like 20% for 15 seconds? Really powerful ability. So yeah, you can basically divide up your 4 healers into no buff regen, no buff barrier, and buff barrier. Which could possibly help decide which type of healer you want to play. Alright, moving on to the second wing now that we are past the first boss. we are coming up to this area where there are 3 hallways, each of them with an Atomos void sent at the end. The Atomos. So how this is going to work is you can see these colored pads on each of the hallways. You can see that the colored pad for A up front is matched with the color that the Atomos is on B's hallway. Typically the hallways are divided up A on the left, B in the middle, C on the right. How this works, the Atomos are immune to damage. To make them vulnerable to damage, you need 4 people standing on their corresponding colored pad. Party A, Alliance A, their pad, up front, will allow Party B to attack their Atomos. Alliance B's pad will allow Party C to attack their Atomos, and C's pad will allow Party A to attack their Atomos. While we are trying to kill the Atomos, while 4 of our party members, half of our alliance, is sitting on the pads, there's also going to be a bunch of ads coming. Ads will regularly spawn and start coming down the hallway in order to try and kill us. So how's the strategy work? Also, I believe at this point, one of our party members, one of our DPSs has to go AFK for a minute. I think we're partially waiting for them to get back before we begin, but we do eventually decide to start fighting without them. Just 1 DPS down is not the biggest loss in the world. It's unfortunate, but yeah, not only do they not make it back in time, they miss getting back in time by like 2 seconds. Because if you don't touch the controller for like 10 minutes, the game kicks you out for inactivity, which is, kicks you out of dungeons for inactivity, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, we have one person who goes AFK to grab dinner, and they get back 2 seconds after getting kicked out, which sucks. I'm so sorry too. I believe it's Kinara that happens to. Which sucks. Anyways, moving back to strategy. Now that I've covered that. Strategy. For this fight, what we end up doing is, in general, no matter what, no matter if you're on mine or current difficulty difficulty settings, what you want to do is have 4 people on the pad up front in order to allow the party to your right, or in the case of party C, the party on the far left, allow that party to fight their Atomos. 4 players on that pad. The best people to put on the pad are going to be your ranged DPS, so bards, black mages, summoners, people like that can go on the pad. Healers can also go on the pad as well to fill out space if needed. Let's see. While those 4 are standing on the pad, the other 4 party members are going to be up front fighting the Atomos and trying to kill it as quickly as possible. The quicker the Atomos dies, the quicker we're free and can get out of there. Once your Atomos dies, the party that was trying to stand on the pad to let you fight your Atomos, they can get off their pad and go rush the Atomos and finish theirs off a lot quicker. So, for example, once ours is dead, or sorry, once our Atomos is dead, the party on C will be able to go and fight their Atomos full force. They'll be able to get off the pad because they're not needed to make the Atomos vulnerable anymore. While our 4 party members up front are focusing on the Atomos, we are going to let the ads run back towards the party on the pads. Letting them go back to to our party members on the pads gives the people on the pads something to do and allows the people up front to focus on the Atomos. I believe Mary forgot to let the ads go back. I think she remembers at some points later in the fight, but it happens. She got overeager. It happens. It's not how you normally play this fight. But what I was trying to do is, since we already had 4 people on the pads, I was trying to be up front to heal the people fighting the Atomos, because they need a healer, as you can see. They're getting their asses beat. And also trying to lure back the ads if I can, if I find it possible, but I'm a healer, not a tank. So the regular strategy for this fight is you don't need to worry about letting the ads go back to the pads. You just fight the Atomos and they're dead in like 30 seconds. They're not a big threat. But it is also... some people will ask you to let the ads go back to the pads so that the people on the pads have something to do. Alright, Alliance C has cleared out their Atomos, Alliance B has cleared out their Atomos, so we no longer have to stand on our pad. As you can see, our pad went gray. So now we can go rush up and destroy A as quickly as possible, the A Atomos. And once we're done with that, Alliance C can rush up to their Atomos and clear it out. Alright, there we go. And the ads are going to keep spawning until the Atomos are all dead. Okay, looks like their demon is done, so they can go deal with the Atomos. Looks like they were running a little bit slower, right, because they were down 1 DPS. They were down 1 DPS because Kinara is AFK at the moment, grabbing dinner. Okay, clear. It is worth pointing out that in normal runs of Labyrinth of the Ancients, you're done by this point. Like, it takes no more than 20 to 30 minutes to clear Labyrinth of the Ancients when you're not on mine difficulty. It's not a hard dungeon. We just put it on, high difficulty. All right, arriving at the second boss. The second boss is Thanatos. So let's get to explaining how this works. There are 3 magic pots on the 3 corners of this circle. Yes, circles have corners now, get over it. Each of these magic pots will provide one of the alliances with a buff. This buff is called invisibility. It's technically a debuff, but you want it. This invisibility ghost debuff, what it will do is allow you to actually attack Thanatos. You cannot attack Thanatos without this ghost debuff. So whichever alliance has the ghost debuff, if you have it, it is your turn to fight Thanatos and try to kill him. And Kinara's gone. Kinara just got back like right about this second. That's unfortunate. Yeah, they were away for too long. It sucks. Anyways, down 1 DPS, not the worst thing. Not ideal, but whatever. As I was saying, whoever has the ghost debuff, focus on killing Thanatos. The other 2 alliances want to focus on the ads, because there's going to be a ton of ads spawning, and what the ads are going to do is they're going to run to the magic pots, and they're going to try and break the magic pots. And if the magic pots break, then whichever alliance that magic pot's associated with will no longer be able to fight Thanatos. If you can't fight Thanatos, that sucks. If all 3 magic pots break, you can't kill Thanatos, and I believe the game will instant wipe you. On a similar note, if you have fewer than 4 party members alive for the Atomos fight in any given alliance, that will also result in the party immediately wiping, because you need at least 4 party members alive in order to stand on the pads and let the party next to you attack their Atomos. So the game will instant wipe you if you don't have enough people up. So, yes. Whichever party has Ghost, focus Thanatos. The other parties, focus on protecting the magic pots. I believe what we agreed to is you focus on protecting your own magic pot, and then if another magic pot is having a bad time, maybe go support it if you can, but focus your own magic pot. When magic pots take damage, sometimes I think if they get attacked by the Sandman enemy, but when magic pots take damage, they will sometimes begin moving in towards Thanatos in an attempt to get themselves shattered, which sucks. I would like them not to get shattered. If you heal a magic pot back up to full health, yes, you can heal the magic pots. Do it. They will return back to their platform where they are safe. But yeah. So, in addition to fighting the ads, you also gotta heal up the magic pot and make sure it doesn't die. Which, I'm so glad you can heal it, or this fight would be a lot worse. Okay, we've got 6 more seconds of the ghost debuff on our party. Once that is done, it is time to move on to the ads. But first, get everyone healed up because oof, we're taking some brutal hits. Okay, we've got Nemesis and we've got Sandman as the 2 types of ads. I think Sandman's the one that makes the magic pot start going to get killed by Thanatos, while the Nemesis just does a lot of damage. Alright, trying to keep Miri alive. Shara has a resurrect up, so they'll be able to get up. They are up. Now let's hope we can heal in time because, oof, we're taking hits. And I'm using Cure 1 when I should not be using Cure 1. I guess I am low enough on MP that it's almost worth using Cure 1, but Cure 1 is generally completely outclassed by Cure 2. There's not much good reason to use it. Oh, this fight fell apart real bad. But hey, we're still alive. We've got all of the healers are alive, so it's not the worst case scenario. And Thanatos is almost dead, and it's about to be our turn. My turn to do damage. Okay, 2% left. He's gonna be down right any moment now. There we go. Second boss clear. On to the third wing of the Labyrinth of the Ancients. Let's see. The items that drop in this dungeon are primarily body gear at item levels 70? 80? 80. It's 80. Item level 80 body gear. I have item level 90 gear for my job quest, so I'm not too worried about getting those, but I believe I'm rolling for them anyway because I can sell them off on the Grand Company to get Grand Company sealed, and I'm going to need a lot of those for crafting. Alright, third and final wing is the North Wing. Let's go check it out. We've got, I think, two fights in this area. One regular fight, and then one boss. Alright, so the first fight. I'll talk about the first fight after I talk about what they're doing up there like idiots. There's a big puddle of lava around here. When you're not going in on mine difficulty, the lava basically doesn't hurt you. So a lot of people like to splash around in it because it's programmed to be water that hurts you, which is very funny. People love to splash around in it for some reason. It's just silly. But since we're on mine difficulty, we're actually taking quite a bit of damage. Thankfully, we can heal that up just by not being in it, so we'll make sure everyone's at full health before we fight the enemies. So here we have 3 Vossigo enemies, with an Allagan bomb in the middle. These 3 Vossigos are providing immunity to the bomb in the middle. Killing the bomb is what we need to do to get through here, but we need to kill the Vossigos first. So 1 alliance per Vossigo, destroy them, and then we can destroy the bomb. Complication is while we are fighting the Vossigo, there's going to be Allagan napalm and other Allagan bombs and enemies such as those that spawn around the arena as adds, and they're going to slowly make their way into the middle towards the Allagan bomb. And when they reach the Allagan bomb, the bomb will get bigger, and if it gets too big, it will explode and wipe the entire alliance immediately. So, while we are fighting the Vossigos, trying to make sure they die so we can go fight the Allagan bomb, we're also keeping an eye out for those adds to kill them so they can't strengthen the bomb in the middle. It is very important that you pay attention to the adds, and if they appear, they are priority 1. Just kill them. I think this is going to be a 2-attempt fight, unfortunately. Did not realize in the initial run, at least did not realize quick enough, that the Vossigos have really nasty frontal cleaves. Of course they do. Never stand in front of an enemy unless you're the tank. And they also have nasty AoE attacks, which are unmarked, which is just a circle around them. So it is a good idea if you're not a melee DPS or a tank to stand a good distance away from the Vossigo you're fighting so you don't get hit by those attacks. A lot of us did not fully realize that the first attempt, so we are going to end up wiping. Another thing to note is that partway through this fight, there will be fireballs that rain down from the ceiling on where the markers A, B, and C are right now. Those will cover a good chunk of the arena in lava, so we will need to rotate around the arena, pull the Vossigos to the next spot in order to be sure that we are not standing in lava and dying. I believe specifically we're going to pull A to 1, C to 3, and B to 2. Alright. Countdown, and then we can begin. Looks like Alliance A. My alliance is going towards the one in the back, which I have never done before. I've never been in a group that has my alliance go to the one in back before this, but, yeah, it's fun. It's fun having to run all the way across the arena to get to my Vossigo while the other 2 alliances can just walk over to them. And yeah, here's the issue. I died almost immediately from the frontal cleaves. And I believe it's about here that the fight starts to fall apart. It didn't take long, but I'm getting in too close again. There's an ad spawning. I guess we did recover. No, we did recover pretty quickly there. So I guess it wasn't me who wiped the party. Okay, now things are going badly. It looks like... yeah, a lot of people getting hit by that AoE. And then I think there was also some raid-wide damage, possibly from an ad reaching the Allagan bomb in the middle. So that's another reason not to let the napalm and such reach the bomb. Don't let it happen. Just don't. You gotta stay on top of the ads. It's really important in this fight. Well, at least the Vasa goes down to like half health, and now charging over to terrorize Alliance B. This sucks. Yeah, when it's falling apart this bad, it might almost be worth it to just wipe and try again. But I'm trying to recover it. I'm doing my best. I think I'm giving a few moments for my MP to regen and healing up the rest of the party before I use another raise. Yeah, I'm out of MP. There's no way I can raise at this point. Having elixirs on hand is also a very good idea for if you die. Get that MP back quickly. Yeah, okay, this is definitely a wipe. Looks like a bunch of people gave up and just respawned back to the start. And yeah, now we're all just saying, screw it, this isn't worth it. We're not winning this. It happens. Sometimes your poll just goes poorly and you gotta try again. It happens. Okay, let's get back up there and try this again. While we are running up to restart the Vasago fight, I do want to give a big shout out to all 23 people who joined me for this, including Kanara, who disconnected due to going AFK for a few minutes. It's unfortunate, but it happens. But huge shout out to all 23 people who joined me for this, which is not easy to do. It's not easy to get 23 people together. We almost had 23 people who I all knew personally, but we had one slot where the person fell asleep and did not wake up in time. So we did have to fill in with someone who walked up to the Labyrinth of the Ancients instance entrance, said, "Wow, there's a lot of people here for some reason. Why are there a lot of people here?" We explained, hey, we're getting people together to do a high difficulty run of Labyrinth of the Ancients. We have one spot left. Wanna join? And this beautiful, beautiful extra person who nobody knew just saw us, walked up and was like, oh, I feel bad. I feel like I'm just walking in on a party here. They're like, sure, I'll do a high difficulty run in Labyrinth of the Ancients. I've only run it once before in my life because I'm still new to the game. So a huge shout out to that random player who agreed to do this. You're awesome. Like all 23 people who joined me are awesome for indulging me with this nonsense, for going for mine difficulty. But that one rando who just walked up and offered was perfectly happy with joining us. Thank you so much. You're amazing. I believe that is, I want to say that's Linmer Spartus who joined us. Shout outs to you specifically. Okay. Now let's begin round 2. But yeah, no, I want to give shout outs to really everyone who joined. The vast majority of the people are from the co-host Final Fantasy XIV Discord. Fantastic community. I love everyone there. It is wonderful. We have very regular event nights. We've got a Savage Raid group, which includes me, Julie, who is the tank for Alliance B, Altani, several other people. I think Renai is in our alliance raid for this, and also in the I know Renai's in the Savage raid, of course. Yeah, awesome people there. I've also got two of my girlfriends, Thabita and Anna, have both joined me for this run of Labyrinth of the Ancients. I am so happy that they were willing to indulge me for this, especially since Anna had a date the same night that she really wanted to get to. And around this point, like right before the first pull of Vasago, she was informed by the person she wanted to go on a date with that, hey, they're available today and want to see her. Thank you for risking missing that for me. Oh my goodness. Thankfully, yes, Anna did get to the date on time, but gosh. I'm very happy that all worked out. We have friends of friends. I've got a bunch of people from one of my Metamors Discord server offered to join. I believe one of them is the Alliance C tank, and one of them is, I think, also an Alliance C as a DPS. Yeah, lots of people joining in. And then beyond that, friends offered friends, or friends invited friends. I think we have at least a few people brought their siblings in, a few people brought members from their own free companies in. This was a huge group effort to get everyone together, and I appreciate y'all so much. It is wild to see that we were able to pull this together. I'm so happy. Okay, our Vasago is almost dead. You can see the flames have emerged onto the floor, which is why we need to rotate. Once our Vasago is dead, we should be able to go and provide support to the other parties to get their Vasagos dead quicker. I don't like how big that Allagan bomb has gotten. That is really large and unfortunate and terrifying. That means several ads have gotten through, which is bad. Very bad. Okay, two of them are down, just Alliance C, and they're down a DPS, so that makes perfect sense. And now that they're down, we can fight the Allagan bomb and get rid of it. I want to say it was like one or two ads away from exploding on us, which would have been awful. All right, now we can move on to the third boss, King Behemoth. This is the boss that wiped us on our first attempt a week prior. We got to this boss with 30 minutes left on the clock. You can see we saved 40 minutes this time around just from knowing what we're doing this time. We went in with 30 minutes left and we wiped when we got it down, or we ran out of time when we got it down to like 50% health. So, several mechanics to go over with King Behemoth. 1, there are 4 towers surrounding the arena. You want someone on each of them. The original strategy, when there were 6 tanks, is have a tank on each of the towers, because when you interact with the towers, they will deal damage to you, and tanks are far better at dealing with that damage. But current strategy is you want ranged DPS on the towers. Optionally, have healers on the towers as well, but just one person per tower. They stay on the tower. Every once in a while, the tower will activate. When it activates, it's going to start doing damage to the entire alliance. Everyone will take damage. So you want someone on those towers to immediately deactivate them by interacting with them the moment they go live. When you interact with a tower to turn it off, it will electrocute you and do damage to you. So healers want to keep regen on the tower, on whoever's on the towers as much as possible. In addition, if the towers get broken, for example, by an ad or by King Behemoth itself, they will effectively be permanently on, constantly doing damage to the entire alliance. So don't let the towers get destroyed. And yeah, as I'm emphasizing in the chat, 1 person per tower. Do not try and have someone do oh, I'll handle 2 different towers, it'll be fine. No, you don't have time for that. I promise you, you can be the best player in the world. You do not have time for that. And someone disconnected. Oh no. I believe they just had a crash that they needed to deal with. So I think we're going to cut ahead at some point to wait for them to log back in after they got a crash. Well, yeah, it happens. Mostly to PC players. I've never seen a crash on PS5. Hell, I've never seen a crash on laptop either, but I've only been playing for like 2 days on laptop. I was gifted a copy on of a PC license. So I get to play around on my laptop when I'm away from my console now. Anyways, while we're assigning the roles and waiting for people to reconnect, other things to watch out for. So towers, when they're destroyed, they are permanently on, constantly doing damage to the entire alliance. Don't let them get destroyed. I believe to mitigate that, we want Behemoth standing on... We're eventually going to set a marker C in the very, very, very north end of the arena. And we're going to try and have the tank stand on that marker, having the Behemoth facing directly north, so it cannot attack the other towers on accident. Other things to watch out for. There are going to be... Every once in a while, King Behemoth will drop down comets on several party members, who will have a green comet marker above their heads. Wherever they're standing is where the comet will drop down. We want to make sure those comets are decently well spaced apart, and importantly, away from Behemoth. Close enough that people can get behind the comets, but far enough that they're not going to get attacked by Behemoth. We're going to use these comets as shields, because eventually King Behemoth is going to be using an ability called Ecliptic Meteor. An Ecliptic Meteor, if you are not hiding behind a comet when that attack goes off, you're dead. Like, it's instantly death. Like, there's no defending it, there's no surviving it. Instant death. You cannot survive an Ecliptic Meteor. You need to be standing behind a comet when it goes off, or you're done. In addition to this, wanting to make sure the comets are spaced so that you can get behind them in time when Ecliptic Meteor is about to go off. Making sure they're spaced so that they don't get hit by Behemoth and destroyed on accident. You also want to watch out for ads, because there's going to be a lot of ads, especially Iron Giants, and they're going to be running around trying to smash the comets. And if they smash the comets, you have less things to hide behind and more risk of getting hit by the damn Ecliptic Meteor. This has a lot of things going on in it. There's a lot of things happening in this fight that you need to keep an eye on. But I think we're able to get it on the second attempt, which is not bad. That is not bad, to be honest. King Behemoth is difficult on mine, but doing it on the second attempt, I'm proud of that. But you'll see how it goes when we get to it. Let's see. What else is there to worry about? Okay, on regular difficulty, when you're not doing mine, this fight is far easier. You ignore the towers. Do not worry about it. They do not do enough damage when you're not on mine difficulty. They do not do enough damage to worry about. You still want to worry about Ecliptic Meteor and the comets, but like the ads are going to go down so much faster, it's far less of a threat. Other thing to watch out for is there will be, I think, some ads. It might be Behemoth itself, it might be certain ads that will attack the comets with a fire-based attack, and that will cause the comets to radiate a huge explosion around them. So if you're standing too close to the comets before it's time for Ecliptic Meteor, you might get got by those fire attacks that burst around it. So careful of that. But yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, on regular difficulty, not on mine. You don't need to worry about the towers. Let's see. Okay, you can see the tower activated there. It had that electrical ring around it. And the longer it's activated, the higher the electricity rises on the tower. I think the higher it rises, the more damage it does. So careful of that. Deactivate it quickly. But yeah, no, I think that is about it. I think that is about it for the mechanics for Behemoth. It's got a lot going on, but nothing we can't handle with a little bit of extra practice. And yeah, okay, this first attempt, what went wrong is we did not have good positioning for Behemoth, so Tower 1 got broken, and we did not yet at this time realize exactly how important keeping the tower people alive was. Obviously keeping them alive, but we didn't realize at the time how much damage they would be taking, so we weren't as on top of healing them as we should have been. We'll get it on the second attempt, though. But yeah, you can see Tower 1's broken. I think Tower 3 is broken. And the floor is very electrified, and we are in a lot of trouble here. Yeah, we're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it at all. Yeah, I think I'm going to just ignore this raise. No, I took it. I'm surprised I actually took that raise. Because this feels like, okay, at this point we should just wipe situation. Yeah, there was no point in taking that. Okay, let's get back there and try that again. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you just gotta do a fight poorly so you can learn what you did wrong and know how to do it well. And I believe that was Renai reminding us to toss healing on the people who are dealing with towers. So yeah, I believe with this we now know everything that we did wrong, so we should be able to get it on this attempt. Keep people on towers alive, keep Behemoth facing directly north. Okay, so now all that's left is to deal with Behemoth. I believe we're going to take a minute for everyone to regather and make sure any questions are clarified, and then we'll do the poll. But for the next minute or so, while they are discussing that, I'm going to rest my voice for a moment. And I could cut out the pre-poll planning, honestly. I could. But I think it is important to show, like, the discussions that we had. This is part of the regular, like, you're doing new or difficult content experiences. You want to be patient and discuss strategy. There's nothing wrong with taking the time to discuss strategy. It is honestly highly recommended. When content is difficult or easy enough, you don't need to, usually. But there is, like, it is expected, basically, that you will stop between polls and discuss what went wrong so you can actually figure out what to do next. That's how the game is designed. Trial and error, learn by failing, and learn by doing. And I really, really do like that about this game. As long as people don't get toxic and start being like, oh, how dare you not know everything immediately, which does sometimes happen, but thankfully not too frequently. But as long as people don't get awful about that and allow for, hey, people learn at their own pace, and sometimes you gotta learn by trial and error, as long as people are fine about that, then I think this game is pretty well designed on that front. I think it can be pretty fun to do trial and error. Okay, the one person who didn't respond yes on the ready check said they are ready, so time to begin. Okay, let's begin. King Behemoth round 2. I believe I'm going to focus on keeping Anna alive since Anna is working on Tower 1. I am a healer, and she's my girlfriend, so she gets girlfriend privilege. I don't believe Thabita was on a tower for this. Which is probably for the best, otherwise girlfriend privilege would have me split between two different people, and that could be a problem. Okay. Yeah, this is a bit of a chaotic fight. Let's see, we've got a tower activated. The ground is electric. Which tower is activated? Did one get broken? Broken already would be extremely unfortunate. Okay, there's Ecliptic Meteor. Hide behind the comet. Everyone, including the people who are on the towers, get behind the comet. Do not get got by the meteor, and directly back to your jobs. Kinda wish I would turn the camera at some point so I could take a look at if any of the towers are broken yet, but it sure seems like one's broken given the floor is going off. And that is a problem. Well, 1, 3, and 4 seem up, so if any, it would be 2. Alright, second Ecliptic Meteor incoming. Everyone get behind cover. And we're good. We lost a healer. And we lost a dancer. Okay, King Behemoth at 20%. That's going very, very well. Yeah, this fight is a little chaotic. This fight's got a lot going on. And, oh crap. Oh, that's gonna break Tower 1. Okay, that's a problem. That would mean 2 towers are down. Oh, crap. Oh, I think the comet broke right before Ecliptic Meteor landed. That sucks. Not a lot of people are alive. Oh, no. Jera's down. We're down to 3 healers left. Alliance A is completely dead. Oh, yeah, this one got close. But if they just focus on the damage, and if the healers are able to get off 1 or 2 reses, we might be able to... I think we've got this. I've already said we've got this, so you know we've got this. Another good point, we can use Limit Break to do massive damage and finish this fight before it goes to hell. But looks like it's not needed. And the final boss of Labyrinth of the Ancients, Phlegethon, has appeared. We can just head right on into the hole that the elevator left behind, and that will bring us up to Phlegethon, and then we can begin the fight. Phlegethon's fight is basically identical between regular difficulty and mind difficulty. There is not much different. It just is longer, and we see more complicated versions of the same mechanics. I do want to say, once this fight is over, we're going to be switching back to my commentary back when we were actively doing Labyrinth of the Ancients. Post-commentary will end once Phlegethon is dead. So I will cut out possibly abruptly at that point. So, mechanics for Phlegethon. There are 3 markers on the ground, A, B, and C. A on the left, B in the middle, C on the right. These are going to be your home bases for each alliance. What is going to happen is at certain points during the fight, everyone will need to run to those platforms in order to stay alive. If not enough people run to all 3 platforms, all 3 need to have enough people, the party will wipe. The entire alliance will wipe. So how does Phlegethon work? Phlegethon is going to largely just be fairly straightforward. He has massive AoE attacks, which have really intricate patterns that are very interesting, honestly. We'll just need to not get hit by those, and then do damage to Phlegethon. At a certain point, Phlegethon will begin charging an attack called Ancient Flare. Do not fuck with Ancient Flare. The only way to survive is to run back to your assigned home base, have enough people standing on the pad, and when enough people are standing on all 3 pads, it'll put up a shield that shields off the inner arena so that we do not have to worry about it. If not enough people are up, then the shield will not go up, and Ancient Flare will kill everyone immediately. I will talk about what happens once Ancient Flare goes off and you have the shield up once we get to that point. But for now, it is a fairly straightforward fight. Alright, battle begins in 10 seconds. Get a regen on Miri. And let's begin. Fighting Phlegethon. Oh, Miri took a big hit from the start. Oh dear, that's a lot of damage. Alright, and there's our first AoE, just a simple cleave. Interesting graphical effect, honestly kind of pretty. I believe next is going to be just a big hit on Miri, which does nothing. Big hit on everyone, which does actually quite a bit of damage. When's the really fancy AoE going to come out? Any moment now, I want to say. And another thing to... Oh, here we go. Here's the fancy AoEs. But another thing to watch out for is ads. Ad number 1 will be Iron Claws. Iron Claws will spawn with some regularity in order to grab onto a party member and prevent them from doing anything. Destroy the Iron Claws so that they can't imprison one of your party members in place. Ancient Flare incoming, so we all rush back to the pad to be protected if there's anyone straggling behind. Healers use Rescue to get them to the pad. While we are out here, the arena is covered in fire and we have an Iron Giant to fight. I believe the Iron Giant will be followed up with an Iron Claw. But once all 3 Iron Giants are dead, we'll be able to return to fighting Phlegethon. On regular difficulty, there will be 2 Ancient Flare attacks. The second Ancient Flare will come when he's at about 5 to 10% HP left. Don't fuck with it. If he is on low enough HP, the party can agree to get greedy and try and kill Phlegethon before Ancient Flare goes off. It can happen. You usually cut it by about half a second. I don't like to risk it. Most people probably should not be risking that. Just run back to your pad and protect yourself from the second Ancient Flare. On mine difficulty, I think we're going to get 2 and then a little bit of time after to keep fighting. Usually he dies almost immediately after the second Ancient Flare on regular difficulty, but mine he's going to keep going for a bit. That Iron Claw kind of screwed me. Locked me in place, I got hit by the AoE. You want to take care of those ads, please don't leave them laying around. Please clean up your Iron Claw toys. You don't want to step on them, they're worse than Legos. Alright, Ancient Flare number 2. Oh no, that's a terrible place to respawn. Thankfully, the first few seconds after you revive, you've got immunity from most attacks, so you gave me a little bit of time to recover and get myself back together, which is a huge relief. Alright, back to Phlegethon. Yeah, still 36% HP left. And at this point, the AoEs are going to get really intricate in a way that you never see in regular content. Never see it on regular difficulty, so I'm really glad that we did mine just for this alone. Because look at how fancy these start to get. I failed that because it wasn't entirely clear where those wind cleaves were going to hit, which is not entirely my fault, but also like it should have been obvious. But I'm glad that most AoEs nowadays just use a solid color, not instead of that outline. But yeah, we've also got those huge crisscross attacks coming in. I think there's going to be one more really fancy one right before the end. These attacks get interesting. I love it, honestly. Oh god. That's a lot of damage to the party. Okay, yeah, this is covering almost everything. The safe spots are getting fewer and farther between. With 4% left, we've got this. Oh, Altani's down. Don't have the MP to get him back up. And Phlegethon should be down any moment, so we're clear. You call that a labyrinth? One last thing before I cut back to old me, a bunch of my friends took incredible glamour shots of Satora before and after heading into Labyrinth. Those will be at the end of the episode. Okay, thank you so much to everyone who participated in helping with this absolute chaos. That was delightful. Okay, give me that Allagan catalyst, that faded copy of Hubris. Oh, I missed it. Okay, well, I'll get the second one. Wow! Okay. Well, I'll get it on a run on my own time. It's fine. Hell yeah! We did it! We cleared Labyrinth of the Ancients on Mind difficulty. We were down one player on accident, but fuck, we did it. Thank you so much to all 23 people who joined me for this. This was a delightful time. Oh, what a relief. I wish Graha were here to see this. I'm sure we'll tell him all about it. For now, let's go finish this off. Finally completed Labyrinth of the Ancients. Ho there, Satora! Very impressive, I must say. Your name shall be writ large in the volumes that are sure to be penned on this historic expedition. The scale of this structure defies comprehension. Someone plainly thought bigger was better. According to the findings of my Baldessian colleagues, the Crystal Tower was constructed to collect and store the endless energies of the sun, a characteristically ambitious undertaking. So it's a giant solar panel and battery? Now, what are the tower's inner defenses? Judging by your haggard expression, clearing out the labyrinth was no small feat. I'm sorry, hang on, give me just a moment. That line has never been more appropriate than after a mine run. Never been more appropriate, because normally this entire dungeon's a pushover, but wow. A giant of a man wielding his shimmering scimitar, you say? Yes, it will have been Phlegethon. Not Acheron, Phlegethon. He was a hero of the Allagan Revolution. And you gleaned that from what exactly? His choice of weapon? Oh my god, the random person... Okay, one person joined us who was not part of my immediate friend group. They just saw us all gathering outside Labyrinth and were like, hey, what's going on? Am I interrupting something? We invited them to join us. They were just a complete random person. Apparently, it was their first time running Labyrinth. I'm glad we gave them such a delightful experience. And you gleaned that from what exactly? His choice of weapon? Well, I am a historian, and I have a certain, shall we say, affinity for the lore of the Allagan Empire. It is, of course, all knowledge gleaned from musty scrolls and tomes. The ancient texts claim that the Crystal Tower is defended by the champions of Eld, resurrected and augmented through the Allagan's extraordinary technology. Chief, you need to see this! Well, well, there it is. The foot of the tower. What surprises do you have in store for us, I wonder? I can't tell you how glad I am to have you with us on this little jaunt, old friend. Had you not beaten a path through that maze, I very much doubt we'd be standing here now. Well, we have much to discuss and digest. Let us retire to St. Koinok's Fine for the present and there plan our next step. Lest there be any doubt, our expedition has some way to go yet. Oh my god. Ah, good to see people waiting for me. Seriously, thank all of you. Again, so much. And then once I've disbanded, let's go finish off this chapter of the Labyrinth of the Ancients story arc. How the hell do I disband? Like this. Okay, back to St. Koinok's Find. I'll meet you over there. Alright, made it back to St. Koinok's Find without too much issue. I'm still riding on a really nice high from that. That was great. I'm so glad we did mine. I'm so glad I decided to start doing mine difficulty for a lot of the multiplayer content. This is how you have real fun in this game. This is the best way to play. I am convinced. Okay, there's Graha. Let's go check in with Wedge, Sid, and Biggs real quick. You just leave the business of sorting out the aftermath to us. Focus on clearing out the nasties and we'll move in to survey what's left. You really not going to say anything new after all that? Yep, you've got nothing new. I am very disappointed in you three. Graha, at least you, my beloved nerd cat boy who really wants to impress me for some reason. At least you'll have something interesting to say. So good of you to join us, Satora. Our meeting would be dull indeed without a full account of your experiences in the Labyrinth. Experiences? They sure were. Take a moment to collect yourself, and when you're ready, we shall debate how best to proceed. Okay, we are not done yet. We're going to take on one more quest for today before we call it a day. And that is just the last quest to finish off this particular arc of the Crystal Tower series. Okay, Graha, let's do this. Graha Tia is ready to address the assembled Fellowship of Noah, now that we have cleared out the Labyrinth. The Fellowship of Noah is being accounted for. It is time for this assembly to be called. It is time this assembly was called to order. Rambros will be presiding over the meeting, if you would be so kind as to inform him of your readiness to proceed. Okay, you've got nothing new. Welcome back, Satora. I've just been reading about your encounter in the Labyrinth of the Ancients. It pleases me greatly to note that you seem none the worse for the experience. For your reference, I have added my own notes to Graha's preliminary expedition report and begun compiling a Crystal Tower survey log. The information contained therein will be available to you at all times. Should you have any questions, you need only ask. Now, if there are no objections, I shall begin with a summary of the expedition's key accomplishments. Let's do it. Let's go over what we've done so far. Which of these materia do I want? Quick Tongue is good. We've got 2, 1. Okay, Quick Tongue or Battle Dance. I'm going to go Quick Tongue. In the course of this, our first foray into the grounds of the Crystal Tower, we succeeded in neutralizing the structure's outer defenses before proceeding to secure the maze surrounding the base of the spire. According to Satora's accounts, the Labyrinth's defenses were most emphatically active. Disturbingly, her report also mentions a violent encounter with a sentry heavily augmented by Allagan technology. In short, our misgivings were well-founded. The Crystal Tower was not simply thrust above ground by the chaotic shifting of Earth, it has somehow been reawoken. If, as seems increasingly likely, the tower's secrets should prove too dangerous to share with the world, we will have no choice but to contain them. Short of leveling the place, this will almost certainly involve returning its mechanisms to a state of dormancy. To do that, however, we will first need to address the question of how they work. The answer to which must surely be waiting for us inside the tower itself. In short, that is where we must go. A task rather easier said than done, if the perils of the Labyrinth are any indication. Then I move that all further exploration of the tower be delayed until such times as an exhaustive analysis of the structure's defenses has been completed. Master Garland, may I entrust this task to you? It would be my pleasure. Don't forget about us. It's like you said, Chief. We founded the Ironworks to make sure that technology was used for the right reasons, and that means making sure it's not used for the wrong ones. We wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't see this through to the end. Lads, well, I hope you're ready for some backbreaking chores. Well, everything seems to be in hand here, so I shall take my leave of you for the present. If I am to witness this valiant tale unfold with mine own eyes, I must needs hone my martial skills ere we ascend the spire. You'll do nothing of the sort, Graha. Your knowledge may prove useful to Master Garland's investigation. Oh, he's pouting! Oh my god, he's adorable! Ah! As an observer, I am not, strictly speaking, subject to your authority. Pray do not mistake my intent, Satora. I am well aware that I shall never be a match for one with your innate talents, however hard I train. Be that as it may, pray do not allow your skills to rust from disuse during the coming pause. We will need you fighting fit if our subsequent forays are to prove as productive as this one. Mark me, we have not yet caught more than the briefest glimpse of that which time has obscured. Soon, however, we shall cast off the veil and gaze upon the glory of the Allagan Empire. And with that encouraging thought in mind, it is time to bring this assembly to a close. Let us all focus on the tasks at hand that our next expedition may begin all the sooner. Meeting adjourned. Such a terrible mess. Yet it does leave the door wide open, so to speak. One cannot help but be impressed. I'm beginning to understand the reliance you place on adventurers, old friend. So, this is the legacy the Allagan Empire left behind. If my readings are correct, the energy source waiting atop the tower is a match even for the Ultima weapon. Nay, more than a match. Heh, a new toy for me to play with. I believe the fates had conspired to deny me my just rewards once again, but it would seem they had a greater destiny in mind for me. And so long as my ambition burns, I shall strive to seize it. The dream lives on, Cid. Do not disappoint me. That fucker escaped from the Praetorium, and he's the one who sent us on this mission? God damn you, Nero Tosceva. I mentioned before that when we were in the Praetorium that his relationship with Cid was very much that of divorced husbands. So he's still alive. It's going to be very entertaining seeing their relationship develop, is all I'll say. I love them. I think they are a very funny pair. But we'll be getting to that in due time. Rambros, can I check that expedition log? No, I don't want to start the next quest. I guess we're not checking the expedition log yet. 'Tis my most fervent belief that the Fellowship of Noah will, piece by piece, lay bare the long-buried secrets of ancient Allag's history. But the doing of it will require all of your skill and more. Mayhap I can convince Master Garland to allow me to accompany you, that I might see some of these horrific guardians in the flesh. I am quite proficient with the bow, you know. Alright. You three better have something new for me. God damn it! Nothing! Absolutely nothing! Okay, well then. Our first alliance raid is complete. Thank you again. I cannot express enough thank yous to the 23 people who joined me for this. That was so much fun. That went remarkably smoothly compared to our first attempt last week, so I'm actually glad we did a round 2 to try again. So, next time on Final Fantasy XIV, we will be getting back to the main story next week. Next week we're going to be continuing and almost finishing the main story for patch 2.1. But for the rest of this week, we're going to be doing a quick check-in with our adventure squadrons. That'll be a fairly short episode, I expect, but we're going to do a quick check-in. Then after that, we're going to be doing the next stage of Blue Mage. And then this Sunday, we're going to be taking a break from Fate Grinds to take on another seasonal event. So, I'll see everyone next time for whatever you show up for next. Main story, squadron check-in, Blue Mage, and seasonal events. I'll see everyone next time for one of those.